of defensive coordinator, Zac Alley. Questions for Coach Alley, Greg?
So, Zach, I mean, what can you tell from a spring game? And maybe more importantly, what did you tell from the spring as a whole?
Yeah, I think the spring game's obviously fun because you get to see guys play and, go out there and compete a little bit. See who can make plays, who can't, who can make tackles when it's live fire, and hopefully a little bit of pressure, that you can't, that you can feel in the stadium and the environment, day in and day out. So I do feel like, as a group, we've made a lot of strides since they got here in January. We had a lot to learn, a lot of guys learning how to play, how to practice, how to be at this level. Developing leadership and competitive depth, all of those things are important. We're on the process of doing that. And, the nice part of this year is you don't lose half your team here in about 3 weeks. So hopefully the development, those things that have happened from, January to now will translate as we move into summer and fall camp too.
Coach, Rich mentioned how he told you to reduce a lot of your normal playbook for this spring scrimmage. How much did that impact what you could do against this offense, and maybe why there were some plays that didn't go your way?
Well, there's a lot of things I wouldn't have done against this offense if I was trying to game plan them. So, I think there's we called like 5 things out there today, and just over and over and over again off a wristband. So some of them maybe not advantageous to the situation, and I think they started the ball on the 40 every time. So it's a tough day when it's 4 down territory the entire time of the game. But the simplicity of it was twofold: to help our guys play fast and have confidence in some of the base things we do, and then I'm not one for showing things if I ain't got to.
Have you gotten enough information from what you've done so far this spring, and how does that impact what you're going to do now carrying over to the summer leading into camp?
Yeah, I really feel, like I said, just maintaining the guys that are on the roster makes you feel a lot better at what you can do well and what you can't do well. I think that last year, I think there was another new 41 players or something in the summer. I mean, so you were building your team again and fall camp, trying to figure out who could do what everybody was good at, what roles you wanted them to play, how you were going to use them. And so I think there's a lot more continuity, leaving spring ball this year with just some understanding of who we have and how we're going to try and use them in the defense.
In defense, when you choose to attack something, you're vulnerable someplace else. Are you good about all your vulnerabilities, or are you still learning those?
Yeah, I think you're always, at least as a play caller, you're always trying to figure out where do you put the stress. There's always stress on somebody. And the more you can put stress on the good players and the better players, generally the better you're going to play. So I do feel that, we have a lot of guys where I know where I can put stress on them and I know what they can do right now. And, I think we've improved a lot, just the continuity of the play calls, the continuity of the guys, and it's a little thing, but just having a guy like a Ben Cutter back and a Nick Taylor, guys who've played in the system, well, that helps everybody because they're confident, and they know what to say and how to call things out, and they know how to get the other guys lined up, and so that even though there was a decent turnover on the roster, it wasn't everybody's new and trying to learn. It was okay, hey, this portion of guys is new, but then when they're in the meeting room and I'm not in there, when they're sitting on this and they're in there by themselves, well, Ben Cutter can go, hey, no, this is why you should play it like this, because he's been in the system. And so I think there's some carryover that just happens by having guys back who've been around that do well, that help, encourage everybody who's new. And so I feel like there's been a lot of learning and growth and development, particularly the last about 5 practices.
How do you feel about your linebacker from where they started the spring to where they are now?
Yeah, I think we're pretty deep. I mean, we roll out there about 6 guys who can help us win right now, particularly, both inside and at nickel. I mean, I think our nickel room's really good. We're going to use them a lot of different ways and help those guys be successful. And I feel confident in the guys we have in the room. We're still growing and developing leadership, vocal leadership, and holding guys accountable and trying to bring the level of the team up with us. That's always the challenge. It's the same as the quarterback on offense. By default, you play linebacker, you're in a leadership role. And if it's not right, it's on you. It's not on anybody else. And so I think the guys like that. I think they accept that challenge. I recruited them like that. They should know that was what was going to happen, coming in here. But I think that they've done a good job of stepping up to the plate. And, even some of our newer or younger guys who are in here, because they see how the older guys act, they're trying to emulate that and have that same style of, accountability out there on the field.
You like where they are from a length the athleticism point?
I do. I think we've got a lot of guys that can help us make plays. Some guys have made really, really major strides. Cam Torber has come along. He didn't play linebacker till last year, so there was a lot of learning to do. But he's had a great spring and really excelled and showed out. And same thing with, Malachi Hood, Isaiah Patterson, and Tyler Stolsky, all those new guys. Cuts as consistent as ever. And then I'm excited to get, Ashton Woods back off the injury because I think he'll be able to help us too.
Did you experiment at all with the in-helmet communication today or throughout the spring?
Experiment
Just use it or at all this spring?
every day. Yes, because that's it's normal for our guys nowadays. That's an everyday thing. So, most of the backers are used to hearing me in their heads at this point consistently. So sometimes maybe they don't want to, but they get to.
Where do you think you are right now with a pass rush without you having to scheme? Do you have guys, see ball, get ball guys, you think?
I think we've got a couple of them. I think that we're still trying to make strides there. Obviously, we didn't get the turnover at the edges, position, and I think we lost 6 guys or 7 guys that were. We had like 5 seniors in there last year. Just makes it for learning and developing that same type of style too. I think there's a knack to knowing both how to pass rush one-on-one, and then today we had a couple where like we came inside and you can't come inside, and then now he scrambles out. So a couple missed sacks and things like that were just understanding rush lanes and where to be. But I think we've got quite a few guys that can go, and hopefully we'll be able to keep helping them by how we scheme things up too.
So when Matt State was recruited over here, Coach mentioned that he maybe would get some looks on offense as well. What's his progression been like from when you brought him in to now, and then how has it been managing the possibility of him maybe also playing on offense?
Yeah, I think Matt's done a great job. Everything you could expect of a freshman, coming into a new system and all that. He's got all the athletic ability in the world, and he's been running really well, and I think he's very smart, so he plays smart. He's very football savvy. He's just a natural kid out there. He understands where the ball is, the angles to take, and then he's got great ball skills and all that. So selfishly, I don't really want him to go to offense, but if it helps the team, I'm all for whatever it is. Not overly. We're very organized in what we do. So, hey, this period we want for these plays, whatever it is. So we make sure we get him the reps he needs. But, he's primarily on my side, so I kind of get first default depending on what's going on.
Coach Rodriguez talked about the next step kind of being making players know why they're doing what they're doing, not just doing it, but understanding it. How important is that for you on the defensive side of the ball, especially with what you admit is a bit more of a complex defense?
I think it's critical all the time. The situation dictates how you play things, and so, the way we may play a call on 1st and 10 is not the same as 3rd and 1. If the ball's on the 5-yard line, it's different than if it's on the -10. And so guys have to understand the situations of the game, where it is, what's going on. I joked about having 4-down territory all day today. Well, 3rd and 11 on the 40 is run. Most teams are going to treat that as 2nd down. So just having the guys understand why we're trying to do what we do, both situationally within the game, and then, okay, what calls do we like in these scenarios? If coach is calling this, here's what I should expect. And so, thought I had to sneeze. So for the spring ball, it's been good to, we've been a lot of 1st and 10, 2nd down, 3rd down. There hadn't been as much situationally as we'll do in fall camp and things like that. But I think the guys have an understanding of, okay, this is what I'm thinking when I call these things.
Have you seen this spring some growth from the beginning till now in that facet? Players understanding why they're doing what they're doing a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there's a good group of guys. I think that's one thing I'd say about our players this year, man. I have a lot of respect for who they are. I think the character of the individuals is really special. We've got a lot of guys who are bought into who we are and what we're doing. They're compelled to be here and, committed to the program. And I really, it's encouraging to see that, because when you walk by the meeting rooms and now there's 5, 6 guys in there on a regular basis, that understanding is coming along because they want to be in here. They want to be, better every single day. We finished practice and, Jameer Latimer and Andrew Powdrell beat me in the room. They're going to be up there watching film before I've even and gotten up top, and that's that way they play well because they understand what's coming, and they have an understanding of the stress of the calls. So I think from that standpoint, our guys have really, stepped up, and I've been very pleased with the people that are in the building.
What do you see on Malik's fumble recovery?
He did a good job of getting square and getting behind it, so that was good. Really, David made that play, coming off the edge, tackling the quarterback. He kept the quarterback from being able to go right there, and then I think Malik was trying to hit his 90% speed or whatever they got to hit in the weight room on the fumble recovery, but that won us the game, so I'm all for it because I was blue team all the way. So he got the win right there, but that was encouraging and fun to see. But I was encouraged more to see the guys get excited and celebrate with them. Thanks, guys.